Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the AYG Comedy Podcast. Please take a second to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you get the episodes as they come out. Thanks a lot.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Are You Garbage? The show where you find out if your favorite comedians are classy individuals or absolute trash. Now, here are your hosts, Kevin Ryan and H. Foley.
Hey, everybody out there, and welcome back to everybody's favorite new podcast. This is Are You Garbage, the show where we sit down with your favorite comedians and find out if they grew up classy or if they grew up trash, baby. I'm your host, H. Foley, coming at you on a beautiful day here in Astoria, Queens, where the bodies are stacking high. I'm not going to lie, it's getting a little dicey over here, folks. My co-host hit the ground running the second he saw trouble. He was the first man on the lifeboat on the Titanic, coming at you somewhere in southern New Jersey. Our old pal, Kevin James Ryan, everybody.
What's up, buddy? Down here in Casablanca Studios yet again.
Back at the hideout.
I'm at my parents' vacation home in South Jersey, and there's definitely a lighthouse theme going on here, and and some signs that say, I'm looking at one right now that says, teach a man to fish and he'll sit in a boat all summer. So that's kind of where I'm coming at. Trash bags.
Good stuff. And that voice that you hear is our very, very, very special guest, our good pal. This gentleman that we have on the show here today is one of my favorite comedians. He performs all over the city. Anytime I see this guy's name on the lineup, I'm excited to be on the show. You've seen him on the Chris Gethard Show, and he was a writer for The Break with Michelle Wolf on Netflix. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all well and good, but we got to find out, is this guy garbage? Greg Stone, everybody.
Ooh-wee. First of all, let me return and say, both of you human beings, when I'm around you, I just feel better. You literally, you know, how many times when I go to a New York Comedy Club and you know these pieces of shit walking around, these shithole human beings, and then I see H and I go, oh, we're going to be safe. You're like the white light.
Yeah. We're going to have fun, baby. We're going to have fun.
We do. Kippy. I never knew that you went by Kip.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Kippy came from, I was on the road with, and I didn't even know him, but I was driving out to a gig with, Keith Robinson, for who's like, the listener, if you don't know, he's like an old school comedian. Like he's the king of the cellar table,
And by the road, he means you were in Allentown or something like that. Where was he headlining?
We did take a road to Allentown is what I was trying to say. Yeah. So and he was acting like he didn't know my name. I was in the passenger seat. I was riding shotgun of his car while he was being driven in the back. And he's just going, what's this white boy's name? What's his name? With a K, something short. And then he landed on Kippy. And then before we got back to New York, everybody knew me as Kippy already.
Yeah. Dude, I love him. He's one of these guys who, if you can take him one of two ways, you can go, fuck, this guy hates me, fuck him. Or you can go, no, I'm going to give it right back, and he'll love you.
Yes, yeah.
First time I ever met him was when all this T.I. shit was going on, and I'm walking to the back of the table, and he's sitting there, and he's just screaming, T.I. was right! T.I. was right! I don't know if you remember, but T.I. asked his daughter's pediatrician to be see if she's still a virgin or something that.
Shit.
And people, everyone, all the super liberal comedians were there being like, this is fucked up, and he's staring in their face going, T.I. was right! Yeah. He was right! And it was just digging into them. Oh, it was one of the funniest things.
He's he's the absolute best. Another great story is we all went to see the Ninja Turtles movie that came out, because he takes a lot of comedians. We all go to see midnight showing of big movies that come out. It's like a New York comedy thing. And so we went to see the Turtles, and the week leading up, we'd see him in the Village or whatever. He'd be going, you about that turtle life? Are you about that turtle life? So it was the first, the remake, right. The first remake. And, so we went, and obviously the movie was fucking terrible. And we made it through 20 minutes, and and we all start realizing, oh, this movie's going to be bad. And it gets to a point of complete silence. And he goes, man, fuck these turtles. And he kills. And he stands up and walks out down the hallway. Dude, it was fucking phenomenal.
That's hilarious.
When you can get a theater cracking up these days, that's pretty good, man. I'll be honest with you. That's not too shabby. It is fun going to the movies with him. The first time I went to the movies with him, it was Cotton brought me. and I'm like all nervous, and like everybody's there. You know, when he organizes those movie nights and all that shit. It's like fucking high school. You know, who's seen with who's this and that. Then he's standing there talking to Cotton. I walk up and he's like, "Why the fuck did you bring this white boy?"
That's funny.
Yeah.
He probably
It's
thinks
good
we're the
stuff.
same guy. He probably thinks you and me are the same person.
He probably does.
I would almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
I love that. When comedians call me by a different name, that's like one of my favorite. I never correct them. Like
Yeah,
Lori
just be him.
Kilmartin thought I was Tim Dillon for about 3 years. It was the best my career has ever been.
Oh, man.
Literally.
Yeah, that was the closest to getting on Rogan you'll ever be.
All right, but that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about Mr. Greg Stone. Greg, I want to know a little bit. Tell us where you grew up. I'm not sure. Are you a Long Island guy?
I think you're a Jersey guy, right?
Oh, baby, I'm dirty Jersey. Man.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
man. We got to get some photos. We got to do a screening process out here. We can't not find garbage. We throw a rock.
Yeah, man. I'm from like a block. I'm from this town, Bloomfield, which is a block out of Newark and East. I grew up a block out of Newark and East Orange. So
Okay.
it's like 30, 40 minutes away. Then my dad was from the Bronx. So I spent the weekends in the Bronx. So it was like divorced family shit.
What was the house? Was it like an apartment or was it like suburban? What was the town looking like?
I mean, it's like, you know, it's houses. It was like a small house, but we lived very, very close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my next door neighbor, we had like a can and a string and we'd do that shit.
Wow.
Ain't
Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You leave it to Beaver? What the
Dude.
fuck?
We did it. And then we're like, this is stupid because he could just hear me because I was speaking loud enough
Sure.
he could hear me. And then we stole some 5-year-old's Power Ranger walkie-talkies. And
that's
then we
awesome.
just sat and did that. And that kid was crying.
I
Yeah.
was going to
Yeah.
say that was the move, man. You always wanted to have the walkie-talkies where you could talk to your friend on it when you were a little kid.
That's
Yeah.
it.
The houses were too far apart. You couldn't hear anybody. But that's fucking pretty sweet that you can pull that off. That's like something at a big.
Yeah.
That's real Goonies shit right there.
It is
Yeah.
very Goonies. Love the Goonies. But wait, you said you grew up a block away from Newark?
Yeah, I was like the corner of Newark and East Orange and in Bloomfield. So like we had where I lived literally was like the most cars stolen like in America because they would steal the cars, then drive right into Newark and then the cops wouldn't chase them. So they knew they could just come right on our block and no one. I had a Chevy Blazer that the window for Chevy Blazer.
We've got into Blazers on other episodes. That ain't a great car. Yeah. Blazer.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
1984 Chevy Blazer, the window wouldn't go up. You had to like jam it and then pull it up. And then one day I get pulled over. I pull it down and dropped it by accident, shattered the glass in the window. The cop goes, well, then that's your ticket. That's your ticket right there.
You poor bastard. Here you go. Yeah.
Going forward, it would rain and snow, and it would go into the window. And because I lived in Newark, they would steal every car radio I would put in. And I worked in the car radio department at Sears, so I was just stealing car radios from Sears, and they would steal them from me. And they knew that I was replenishing them, and they'd come like every week and take them.
Yeah.
And the wires would sizzle. It would rain. It would sizzle the open wires, and I would be driving. Person in the back in a blanket and a snowboard helmet just to keep warm. It was a wild ride.
We can
They
call.
start
Let's call it a day, guys. I think that wraps up
Yeah,
the whole
no shit.
fucking garbage quiz. We're gonna.
Did they start putting in requests for the radio? Like, hey, Greg, can you get us a subwoofer? And
I kind of wanted to talk to him. Like, look, just ask me what you want. Like, what'll make you? I'll get that shit for you, and then let me have one. Let me just have one for the rest. It's just hooking them up was annoying.
out of all the things that I remember Sears selling, I don't remember an audio visual department.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. We had not anymore, but I think because of me, they stopped. I worked with a group of people
Sorry,
that
there's a dirtbag in Newark that's killing our whole entire inventory.
Yeah.
We got to make a move on this.
Went through
Well,
15 head units this week.
I was a normal. I was not a thief at first, and I was working with these dudes who worked in Patterson. And the way it went down was this guy's looking at the radio and he's like, "Here's how I would steal it, whatever." And I was like, "Nah, that's dumb. You'll get caught. What you got to do is return it, buy it, return it, mark it down, purchase it. This way you get like I did this whole went through the whole system on how you do it." He walks up to me about a week later, puts $100 in my hand, and he goes, "Hey, thanks again for that tip, man." And I went, "What?" He was just like, "Yeah, I swear to God." He was like, that was him being like, "You're in now."
Yeah.
You took the money.
Yeah.
Now you're part of us.
Yeah.
Now what else you got? Because he had stolen a $2,000 Bose surround system, sold it, and then gave me the money.
You'll be brought up on RICO charges. The second you take the money, the whole thing goes down. You're part of the team there, Stoney.
Greg Stone getting his taste. How old were you?
17 at the time. I was 17. Go ahead.
You guys might be too young to remember this, but I think we've mentioned this on the podcast before, is a couple of my buddies worked at Best Buy. Like when Best Buy started getting popular, and the system they used to have was you'd buy the thing, but then you'd go over to like a conveyor belt where some other guy was working, and it would come down from the storage up top. They had like the storage upstairs. It would come down like luggage. And dude, these guys, we robbing this fucking place blind. I don't know how they fucking stayed in business.
Dude, in my department, in 1 year, you'd look at where, like, they had a map on where internal theft was. My department was this big on the map, and there was 100 little red pins. And every other department was like $1,000. Our department, $75,000 in 1 year was stolen because 3 dudes, me and like 2 other guys. And let me tell you this quick story about this other guy.
Okay.
So it was me, these 2 scumbags who I love. We were 3 scumbags, and this one black guy who was very like a white black guy, like a Carlton kind of guy. Like he was very professional. He was like sweet. He was the best with customers. Everyone loved this guy, and no one ever talked to him. No one ever talked to him about the dirty shit. We were like, we don't involve him. You know, like he's too innocent, right? We're all doing our fucking thing. One day, cops come, pull him out in handcuffs. And we go, what the fuck did Todd do? What the fuck did he do? Right? I see him years later. The scam, he was running scams. He was I don't even think he was a sweet guy. I think it was just all character he was doing.
He got caught on wire fraud or something crazy.
He stole an Infinity G20. Now, what does that mean? How do you steal a
Sears?
car? Yes, Sears doesn't sell cars. How does one steal a car from Sears?
Oh my God!
Here is how you do it. At Sears, you could have pay your Discover card at the register. So you could pay your Sears card or your Discover card.
Yeah,
that's fucking garbage, man.
They used to do that shit a lot at retail places, at department stores. You could go pay like your phone bill at Macy's and shit.
And if you got a Discover card, you're fucking 3 places take that. One's an OTB.
Yeah.
Dude, he bought a car on his Discover card. And then what he would do was, so I was trying to follow the logic here, right? He would return, he would take an object, or he would return a piece, like a thing, like a car radio for $300. Now, that means money is supposed to leave the register, right? So now the register is over $300.
Gotcha.
Right? Now, the thing he returned didn't exist. So what he would do is he would return it, then mark it down, and then have someone buy it for $3. So some object that did not exist, car radio, would get marked down like 50%, then sold. Now you don't have to find that thing that was returned. Now
he takes the difference, right? He would take the difference between the return point and the selling point.
So the difference is the extra money that's now in the register. Now he would then take his Discover card and pay off the Discover card with the difference.
Wow.
So every month he was doing this scam to pay the car payment through this thing, and he was doing it. It was a little bit more complicated than that because you wouldn't ring it up under his number. He would do it a different, right? Like it was this whole other thing. But when they fired him, they brought him out in handcuffs because they knew he was doing something but couldn't figure it out. So he goes, they got me for absences. They didn't get me for stealing. He was like, it's like when they got fucking, that mob guy on tax evasion. You know what I mean? Like they
get Capone on tax evasion.
They got Capone on tax evasion, but he was driving an Infinity around that he stole from Sears, and I kneeled to him and I was like, you were the fucking king. We didn't think you were doing anything.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Forget about Are You Garbage? This is fucking scam school with Greg Stone.
Right.
Wait, but who got him on? Sears got him on absences?
Yeah, not witness protection. What's it called? loss prevention. Loss prevention brought him in. What they would do is they'd bring you downstairs, and they did this to me a bunch of times. They'd grab you.
Sears has their own police force? What the fuck?
The security would bring you in cuffs.
Dude, it was like that's not now. Back in the day, fucking that was the Sears was the land of the law. Back in the 90s, dude, they could do whatever the fuck they wanted. It
was like Tombstone.
I don't think they could. I don't think they couldn't bring you down in cuffs now anymore. I don't know how it worked, but they cuffed him. They brought me down one time, and I was 17. Right before they're bringing me down, this guy Angel looks at me and he goes, "Whatever they ask you, you just say you don't know. You say you don't know." And he like whispered it. They bring me down, and they were like, "Looks like people are a lot of money missing from things. What are you doing it?" And I'm like, "I don't know." We're like, "We know you know. What do you know?" And I was like, "I don't know." I just stuck to my guns, and they went, "Ah,
yeah,
get him out of here!"
Christ.
What the fuck? What is there? A sheriff at Sears?
Dude,
that is fucking crazy.
The lords of scum working. It was us versus them, like every day. You'd see loss prevention come up, and you'd go, "All right, everybody, act cool," you know? And then we had one guy who was in on it. They had one guy who I didn't know, but he was getting a take. One of my men was paying him on the side. And so like, we got Jerry on cameras today. We're good. Do what you want. Dude, it was
what the fuck?
Fucking wild. Dude, it was out. And I left that job because it got so bad that I was like, I don't want to go to jail. And my dad worked there. So my dad was working in the refrigerator department. I'm like, if I get caught, my father is going to know. It's like his pension is gone. We had this one guy, and then I'm sorry, I don't want to take up too much.
No, I fucking love this. What, are you kidding me?
The Sears Chronicles of fucking Newark, New Jersey. What the fuck?
Dude, it was
Jerry's on the cameras. Don't worry. I feel like we can make a movie about this, Goodfellas style. You can fucking literally do this.
I kind of want to write a show about the two sides, you know, like the good guys and the bad guys. It would be fun. But they had this guy, Chris, and he was a fucking cokehead white dude, frosted tips guy.
Oh,
dummy.
Best kind of guy.
Starts working with us, and he's just blatantly stealing shit, right? And we're like, yo, you're going to get us all pinched, right? So we were like, yo, this guy, yo, man, you got to get out of here, man. You're too crazy. You can't just do this shit. And he just kept stealing, and security kept coming up. So we had we were shutting. We weren't really doing much at the time. He eventually, but he, so what I did was we had these stickers that you put on like CDs that would send the alarms off. And one of these fun bits we would do is you'd walk behind someone, you just kind of throw it on their back, and then whatever store they went into the mall, it would set the alarm off. So we're walking back, and I just fucking threw a few on him for laughs. He walks through the Sears exit. The alarm goes off. He sprints to his car, gets in his car, and takes off. And security was like, yo, what the fuck was that about, man? Right? We're like, yo, he's not coming back. He's not coming. We don't see him for like 3 weeks. He shows up, shirt and tie, walks over the register. He's like, what's up, Greg? Grabs 2 plastic bags, walks into the stock room, fills the plastic bags, and then just walks out of the store. Like this is a robbery. Like what we were doing was like little scams, and then this fucking guy, they got him. They got all. Yeah, I'm garbage. Is that what this podcast is about?
Jesus, dude. Stone fucking set this guy up to get him out of the way. That's what fucking Tony Soprano did to Feach LaManna.
Dude, he was the fucking patsy the whole time.
Holy shit. Greg shows up at the guy's house. Hey, can I leave a couple of TVs in your house for a little while? I got a little heat on me.
He's talking to the other guys. He's like, listen, I got a coke can. He's ripe for the picking. Easy fall guy.
How do I know you're not going to turn on me for a little bag of white powder? Huh? You fucking embarrass me. I love how when fucking, you know how devious Stone is? Well, every time Stone said somebody's name, he would whisper it. We had this one guy named Chris.
Yeah.
Dirtbag. Holy shit.
I didn't say last names, though. No last names. You know what I mean? HIPAA or whatever.
Of course. All right. Well, you're definitely fucking garbage. I don't have my numbers in front of me in the file, but you're fucking trash. But let's ask a couple of questions. Let's play a little Are You Garbage with consigliere Greg Stone over here.
Yeah, that's the whole time they were like high school kids. They're like still running numbers for the mob.
Those guys were older. They were like 30 or something, or 25 or some shit. But I was super young, and I would just kind of tell them how to do stuff and whatever.
It's funny.
My hands are clean.
I feel like, Kevin, haven't we talked about that? If you were a little kid and didn't have a job where you worked with men, you're a total pussy these days. Like, that's how you knew you're garbage. Like, I remember having like dishwashing jobs, and it was like me and like adults
and
working
and shit. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. They
That's
would give you your first cigarette or something. They all had like house tats on them and stuff. Oh yeah, of course. Well, then I always looked at like the camp counts. I'd be like, this kid's a pussy going off to like fucking play kickball.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm in Santo Palato, fucking scrubbing pots and pans in the back. Fucking bullshit.
Dude, my next job, I ended up working at Fortunoff's in security, which is like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, right. Shit.
But I didn't do anything.
That's like when Leonardo DiCaprio started working for the feds and Catch Me If You Can. When he finally went over, he's like, listen, I'll show you the ways.
Yeah. I didn't, now, Fortunoff's was different. They'd sold jewelry and shit. So I was like, yo, I'm not fucking with this like federal feds shit. But it was just like a job. And all the guys in security were like ex-cops or cops on the side. This one of the cops walks up to me one time. I'm probably 20 years old. I don't know, probably younger, 18, 19. I don't know. Walking to the cop, smacks me in the ass so hard I almost threw up, right? In front of the head of security. Head of security looks at me and goes, hey, Greg, does that bother you? Is that a thing I need to write? Like, clearly sexually harassed me, in a violent way in front of this guy. And the cop looks at me and goes, yeah, Greg, was that a problem? And I was like, not a problem, sir.
No, we're good.
No.
Yeah.
These guys all had fucking guns and shit. He's assaulting me. So, I don't know.
Oh, man, that's fucking too funny. All right, let's start off with some questions here. Kippy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll hit them with some of the kind of the regular, the ones that are becoming regular themes. And plus, a lot of people are writing in with their own opinions on it. Growing up as a kid, did you do milk for dinner?
Milk for dinner?
Like at dinner, would you sit?
This guy was fucking grand larceny. What are you talking about?
He was having a glass of red wine. That's what the fuck he was doing.
Milk for dinner? No.
Dude, no. Foley's family would sit down with like pasta and meatballs and sausage, and then he would get a fucking glass of 2% right next to it, like a fucking jamoke.
The day milk hit the table on my stepfather would have called us all fags. He'd have been like, "Oh, fags drink milk." My stepdad was a cop, was a psychopath. Like, no, we were not drinking milk. We had
good.
Yeah.
I did not know this about Stone, and I gotta say, man, we've asked the milk question probably almost every episode. That was the best fucking reaction.
Yeah. For dinner? What am I, a cat? What do you mean milk for dinner? Like out of a saucer? You want me to drink this fucking milk?
So funny.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
It's fucking knocking over check cashing places. I'm asking if he drank milk for dinner.
All right. What about in the house? Now, so you grew up in an Italian household, right?
I mean, my mom was like mostly Italian. My dad is fully Bronx Italian, but my stepdad was a German cop, and he kind of was who I was raised by a lot. So
where does the Stone come from?
Stone is my mom's name. My mom is like 80% Italian, but the Stones are like, they signed the Declaration of Independence. There's like all fucking shit in history. I just use that because my real last name, Coraluzzo.
Coraluzzo. That's such a funny last name.
They don't hire me at fucking Sears with that name. They know.
No.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Did you say your family signed the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah, Thomas Stone signed the Declaration of Independence, and he's direct relative to me.
And you're stealing blenders at Sears. I think.
Some American royalty you are, Stone.
Wow. I fucking love it. You're getting taken out in cuffs. My parents signed a Declaration of Independence. This is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, man.
What about so it was kind of an Italian household. So your mom was old school in that regard, correct?
Really? My mom's Italian, but she's not like my dad's side is all like they're all like these fucking bones, you know. My mom was just like a nurse. She was like she's Italian. She knew how to cook, but she wasn't like my mom was like a super strong woman. She wasn't like take care of the children, you know, like she wasn't like that. Just to know who my mom was, about 6 months ago, I call her. I say, all right, Mom, see you later. Love you. She goes, bye. And I went, Mom, you have to say I love you.
Yeah.
And she went, you should just know.
What am I, a pussy over here? Let's go.
I'm finding out all the shit that made me a comedian like later in life.
That's great.
So was there ever any margarine or country crock in your house as a child?
No.
Oh, I was a big country crock household.
Dude, that's garbage, man.
Dude,
that's latchkey kid shit. Country crock, Kip.
It's so funny. I was so margarine and like Promise and like all those brands that I didn't even know. I still look at regular butter as like trash. I'm like, it's wrapped up in paper. Give me a lid. Give me a fucking airtight seal. What are we doing? Come on.
Something whipped. I need something whipped over here. Let's go.
My house, we didn't see a vegetable till my wife is a nutritionist. I didn't see a vegetable till I was 26 years old.
Yeah, man.
You know, we ate meat, we drank Coke, there was butter, And that's the fucking
That's the
things that were in
90s,
fridge.
dude. That was the 90s. Was fucking stuffed crust pizza and wild cherry Pepsi.
Oh,
Wide
little
open.
stuffed crust. Nothing wrong with a little stuffed crust.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right. If you were to make chocolate milk, do you put the milk in first or the chocolate?
Oh yeah. Well, I have a system for this because I do enjoy a chocolate milk every now and again. You do the milk
Like a gentleman.
milk, and you pour the chocolate, and as you're doing it, you're stirring so you can regulate the chocolate first. Is stupid. How dark is that going to be?
Dude, more and more people do the Foley does the chocolate first. I think List and maybe Norman both did the chocolate first. People are writing in that they're like, if you put the milk in first, you're an idiot, which that's the way to do it. Milk first.
I gotta be honest though. I think I used to do chocolate first every now and again. Now that I think about it, because I knew the level of how much it would give me.
That's what everybody says. Yeah.
What's the syrup though, Stone? What's the syrup?
It was Hershey's. I was a Hershey's guy. Yeah,
Gentleman. Okay.
That's the. I remember for one time my mom got stuck on the generic America's Choice from Super Fresh. That shit was. That was like that was might as well have been brown water, dude. That shit did not work.
Hershey's is fucking legit.
Why are all your questions dairy based?
I don't know. I was just
finding out garbage is what kind of butter, what kind of milk do you drink, what kind of chocolate milk.
So do you like churn your own butter, or what kind of you cage free eggs? What are you doing? All right, sorry.
Please, Kip, go ahead.
The last kind of one of the common ones is, so you grew up in a single house. Did you have a garage fridge or like a basement fridge, like a second fridge in the house?
So we did, right? And this is why I thought I was rich when I was a kid. But we had a meat guy. We had a guy who'd come to the house.
Of course you did, Carluzzo.
What? Yeah, we had a meat guy, and he would give us a bunch of fucking meat. We had it in this downstairs freezer that also in the freezer, you should know, was dead animals that my stepfather hunted. And above the freezer was guns that my stepfather used to make. He would take the M1 Garand, which was the gun they used in World War II. He would get the old pieces, and he'd refurbish them and then rebuild them and then sell them. I don't know if that's legal. I don't know how in New Jersey you can sell guns, but he did it one time. So sorry to go.
No.
He grabs me, and I was like 7 or 8 years old, and he shows me the gun stock, and he goes, "You see these crosses?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Those are the fucking Nazis that were killed with this thing," or some shit. And I was like, "All right, man. All right."
I'm going to make some chocolate milk. I'll see you later.
He puts.
I'm going to go back and watch Smurfs real quick. Appreciate the heads up on that.
I see all the guns. He goes, "All of these guns killed Nazis. What have you done?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." And I go, "George, when it all goes down," he goes, I go, "What are all the guns for?" And he looks at me and he goes, "For when it all goes down." That is what he said to me. I was 7 or 8. And he goes, I go, "Hey, George, when it all goes down, do I get a gun?" And he goes, "No, but you can hold your cock and cry for your mommy." That is what he told me at 7 or 8 years old. And I was like, "I don't have a cock, dude. I don't know what are you talking about, man."
I still don't, to be honest with you.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I have a wiener. Anyway.
I still got a pee-pee.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I got a little noodle. I don't know what you're talking about.
Got a fucking linguine down here. We're talking about a cock.
Holy shit, Greg Stone, this is unreal. I got one more food question for you. You have a choice between these two items. What do you go with? Sponge cake or pound cake?
Man, this is a hard one because I don't know. I just got into these things as an adult, as a more elegant man now.
George didn't put out a nice sponge cake with some fresh strawberries? You're going to be kidding me.
George doesn't
George's a Nazi hunter?
Yeah.
You didn't have a nice Entenmann's lemon pound cake on the table when company showed up?
Yeah, that was for the apocalypse. Hey, don't touch that. Don't touch the devil's food cake. That's for the apocalypse.
I'm hiding grenades in there. Keep them...
Funny you should say that. George's main love was the chocolate Entenmann's donut. The yellow inside. Those were so good.
Nothing is better than that, dude. I just walked by that at the Acme. A whole fucking end cabinet case of them. And I feel like they were right back to childhood.
They were made for stepdads. Those things. That's the fucking stepdads get those for fucking Christmas. Those things.
Yeah,
they're called rich chocolate frosted donuts. That's what they're called.
Yeah, ain't nothing rich about that. There's only poor people eating those things.
Dude, you dunk those in milk, ice cold milk, and it hardens up the chocolate.
Yeah,
that was the only time milk was allowed at the table. Was when we would have those. George would go, "You can dunk that if you want," and we'd be like, "Ah!"
That'll blow your hair back, baby.
Otherwise, it was black coffee at the Stone House.
Yeah,
Dude.
with dinner.
1985, first Christmas. My stepfather I meet my stepfather for Christmas. He bought us a gift. He bought me GoBots, which were the knockoff Transformers.
Nice, love
I was
GoBots.
very, very happy about them. I open it. I go to hug him. He puts his hand on my head and went, "Men don't hug," and that is how I met my stepfather.
Jesus, who is he? The fucking Marlboro man? What the fuck?
Dude, spitting image, Sergeant Slaughter, the old wrestler. He looks
Okay, I got
that's
it.
awesome.
exactly like that man.
That's
He
my
was
Uncle
also a
Larry.
G.I. Joe character.
Yes, one of my
Yes.
favorites.
I
I
can
love
picture-
the toy more than I love him, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
That's great.
I would love to see the scene of George going out in the 80s, a couple of days before Christmas, trying to buy GoBots. I'm looking for something called a GoBot. Sir, this is a Pep Boys. You don't have them here? I got this kid at home.
Oh man.
Oh,
So funny.
shit. Have you
So
ever
I
been
would
to
go
a
sponge cake. I like a sponge cake. Sorry.
Like a sponge cake? No, it's okay.
so.
Have you ever been to a petting zoo, Greg Stone?
Have I ever been to a petting zoo? Oh, recently, actually. I went
Garbage?
my parents moved up to they moved to Pennsylvania, and now they have like this place. It's like the Tiger King shit, you know. It's like Billy's
Wow.
Bear House, you know.
Oh man,
You go
that's
in there and you
trash.
can pet some goats, and those are fun. Like I love that.
Where in
Bring your
Pennsylvania?
own
What
lunch
area?
meat.
They live in the Poconos. They live
Oh,
in like
cool.
a place called the Hideout, which is they just moved up there like a few years ago to
Nice.
be alone.
Poconos is clean living.
I think the Bushes
Yeah.
have a house up that way.
Yeah.
The place my parents live in, the Hideout, which my mom was not this Italian, but the place is called the Hideout because it used to be where old mobsters from Jersey would go to live to hide out from you know, when the heat would come around the corner.
You know what's funny is the Irishman really shined a lot of light on that there was a lot of like even like Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Pittston, the Poconos.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fucking New York and Jersey mob and Philly mob that like was in that big circle because you know out there who was looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was also
yeah,
a lot
for
of
sure.
money because there was a lot of vacation and resorts and shit out there. It was like the Catskills kind of, so it was like a place to get away to. So there was like money floating in, you know.
The trucking, the unions, all that kind of shit.
Also,
God, that-
Foley, just so you know, it does not matter what you say to me. Every time I see you, I go, "Yeah, he's Italian."
You
I don't really
do.
care. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's Italian. He's one of us. He's one of our guys. What are you talking about? I am not even that kind of Italian, but I'm like, he talks like one. He
He's
looks
one
like
of
one.
us.
He's kinda Italian. Are you crazy? You don't know.
Hey, Foley, how's your Nona? All
I
right,
was the
got
only
one.
Irish kid working at Sears stealing things. And that's when I met the world. That's when I met Greg Stone.
That's how we did it back in the day. Me and Stone, he was a good kid from Bloomfield.
Slip me a C note. Foley, go steal that air conditioner. Bring it around back. Mr. Caraluso's coming by.
That's the only person. You're the only person who ever said it right. That is exactly how you say it. You fuck Italian fuck. You know you are. You're fucking on the run from somebody, you piece of shit.
No, he just doesn't have a real identity. He's just always been doing characters, and in the '90s, he just hit on Goodfellas and fucking stuck with that. He's not real. He's been acting about who he is for fucking everybody. And unfortunately, I'm the only person that sees the real him, and it ain't pretty. I'll tell you that much.
That's too funny. There's no
I mean, you
real
from-
human being.
No,
Are you from Jersey, Kevin?
no. I'm
You're
from
Philly.
Philly. Yeah, I'm from
That's right,
outside
that's
Philly.
right. Okay.
Philly garbage through and through, baby. Okay,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
have you ever, or this is a part A and a part B. So answer A, and then I'll fire B. Have you ever ordered Domino's 555 deal?
So I don't want to see. I'm playing for 100% garbage all the way through.
Or they
That-
also have the 777 deal, which came out a little later.
Who I am and what I am. That's Domino's in my house. We had once a year because it was inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
On the Italian house, we ordered from Amici's. Okay.
Okay.
Amici's Pizza was it doesn't matter. They could have charged us $100. My house was not letting Domino's through
Domino's
the
in
fucking
house,
door.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
We
Yeah,
had
yeah,
we had the real. We had to have the real shit in Jersey, which a lot of people don't know. Northern Jersey has some of the best pizza in the world. It's that because New Yorkers, they live there and then they fucking move to Jersey.
And
right
anybody who lives
outside,
in New
and we got
York
lot
gets a
of
little bit of cash and then tries, goes out to Long Island or, you know.
So we have really
yeah.
great pizza.
Amici sounds pretty fucking good. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
Yeah.
fucking Amici's, man. They were good.
I got one here. Have you ever gone on vacation to
No.
Florida?
Done.
No
Never went on
vacation?
vacation. We did
Wow.
Disney World once and we never went on vacation. I went on vacation twice because my North End friends' parents felt so bad for me that they took me on vacation with them.
Oh, man.
That's a big garbage thing. Have you ever gone on vacation with friends? Oh, yeah. I've done that.
Your parents give you like $50 to send you off. Like, what the?
You're sleeping in a room
that's not going to last you 2 weeks in Aruba with the fucking Cartwrights down the street.
Yeah. You're sleeping in a room with some aunt that's also on the vacation with the family too. I had that, man. I had to sleep next to some guy's aunt. Brutal.
What was the full
question?
Think
about how she felt.
The full question was, have you ever gone on vacation to Florida where you didn't go to one of the shore points or Universal or Disney? Anywhere else in Florida, you're fucking garbage if you went there.
If you're going to like the middle of the country, yeah. Like the Panhandle or something.
My mom is originally from Florida, like fucking barefoot. They have someone who bought, they were like classic redneck Florida people. One of our uncles or something had $1 billion because they own land that Disney bought. Wow. So it was that they bought like all this land from them, and they were like these just shit people who ate snakes with no sneakers, who then became millionaires because Disney needed their house. But I did technically go on vacation, I'm lying, to Destin, Florida, because my granddad moved there. And I got to go fucking.
That's all right, though. I mean, you're going to visit family. Shit. That's a pass. That's a little bit.
Destin, Florida. That doesn't sound good at all.
No.
I feel like that's where William Dafoe lives. I don't know why. Go ahead, Kip.
All right. Anyone in your family ever own the minivan known as the Ford Aerostar?
Yeah, I think my brother had 3 Aerostars.
Dude, an Aerostar stunk.
The Aerostars.
They all smelled like eggs and sulfur, dude. Every fucking Aerostar had a gas leak. Some monoxide was leaking.
They always had red interior, too. What the fuck was that? Red leather interior? What are we doing here?
Wait, I gotta look up to make sure I had the Aerostar, but I'm pretty sure my brother had an Aerostar.
It was like the spaceship looking minivan. It was the first like sports edition.
Oh my
minivan.
God! So
dude, that thing stinks.
I didn't have an Aerostar, but my cross the street neighbor did. We used to call it the chocolate bus, and he was this Puerto Rican dude named Emil who would just play nothing but Fat Joe every time we got in the car. So we would drive to the chocolate bus, which was an Aerostar, listening to Fat Joe.
Oh, that's clean living right there. That's
hell
awesome.
Yeah, man.
God. That is too funny. Is there a drawer in your house now, I'm going to say, okay? Is there a drawer in your house right now that has like packets of ketchup, soy sauce, plastic forks, et cetera, things like that?
What you are tipping on right now is such a contention in my marriage. This is because my wife is a classy, good human being with a good heart, and she married a son of a bitch from New Jersey.
Yeah.
These
are dirty people.
Don't throw that goddamn duck sauce out, I swear to God.
We have that, and we have the junk drawer. She gets mad at me for my junk drawer.
Love a junk drawer.
Screws from who the fuck knows what.
An old battery. Yeah. There's a couple of wires, some plugs that don't work anymore to electronics. Knows who the fuck know what happened to them.
3 poker chips. Yeah. I don't know. Just shit. This is the miscellaneous. And I used to love the junk drawer.
The top half of a transformer in there for no reason.
Growing up, we had multiple junk drawers. They just like kept spilling over into other drawers.
Yeah.
You ever go to a kid's house where the dad had like his shit together and there was no junk drawer, but the dad had like a perfect toolbox and like the garage was all done nice? Then I go to my fucking house. My dad, the junk drawer's got drill bits, half a drill, a flashlight that doesn't work, some fucking Zippo from Vietnam.
Zippos were big in the junk drawer. Dude, if I went over your house and you had your extension cords were hanging up in your garage, I was like, dude, we can't be friends. What are we doing here?
I have extension cords hanging right there. I bought a coat hanger that hangs on the door for coats, and I hang different wires on them.
Sure.
because
New York's a little.
also
New York, I
comfortable.
do that at home as well. New York's a little different because of the space, for sure.
Yeah,
But if you got a garage and you're so organized that you're fucking you're wrapping up your extension cords like you're a roadie for a fucking rat. You know what I mean? That's too much.
I see. In the classic way, like in the clean way, that's good.
Yes.
I'm doing it in the shitty way, that is, I'm too stupid to put them in a box, so I hang them because fuck it. Not because
You got them on coat hangers. That's fucking garbage right there. What about this real quick? Do you remember, this goes out to both of you actually. Do you remember the first time?
DJ? This goes out to Kippy and Greg out down there in Jersey. Hope you two are getting through the Rona. Here's a little Def Leppard to get you through the day. I'm H. Foley.
Do you guys ever remember a time when you were with your parents and they had to ask somebody for a jump? I remember that. My mom, the car wouldn't start, and my mom goes to the trunk and pulls out these jumper cables, which I didn't know what jumper cables were at the time. And some guy was getting into his car next to it. She's like, "Hey, you got to jump." I'm like, "Oh God, where's this going?"
You've made a couple of wrong turns if you got to get jumped at like the fucking ShopRite super parking lot.
Dude, I live in this weird, crazy. We have like the suspicion that my mom had a gambling problem because she was like the head of an ER, but we lived in a block out of Newark, never had any money, never had anything. So like every night, my mom would always have like not a nice car, but a car that worked. And one time, my sister needed money she fucked up somehow, and she needed money for college or something. I don't know what the fuck it was. And my mom goes, "All right, hang on." Leaves, comes back 4 a.m. hands my sister $3,000 and goes, "There you go." And so my mom was a card shark. She would just play 5-card stud. So she needed money.
That's a fucking badass game. 5-card stud. You've had a couple of guns pulled on you playing 5-card stud.
She drove to Atlantic City, went all night in some poker tournament, or probably up, probably down, who knows, but came back with the money and handed it to my sister. My sister's like, "I don't fucking know." Now we are all like, we never had money because our mom had a gambling problem. I mean, it's so clear. It's got to be. We don't really know for sure. I hate to shit on my mom. I love my mom.
That's so funny.
It's crazy. Questionable what the finances,
where the money was going.
Where it was going, and it was very weird.
Wait, but what's that got to do with getting the car jumped?
Nothing. I just like to talk.
Stone's just confessing to crimes.
Yeah. He's like, "You guys are priests, right? This is you can't talk to you can't go to the feds with this kind of stuff, right? There's some kind of oath you took."
We were talking about cottage cheese all of a sudden. He's like, "Yeah, so there my mom is in an alleyway doing craps."
Yeah. Did you ever take a man's life?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I just like,
Oh my God!
You're sending out. You're lighting these weird. You're lighting these weird memories that are coming out.
That's kind of the thing that everybody realizes is like, holy shit, I haven't thought about that for so long. People are really digging it. It's cool. All right, I got another one. While we're, have you ever looked for car parts in a junkyard?
Car parts in a junkyard. Yes.
Yeah, like I gotta go get a headlight, or whatever.
My mom did that, man.
She did it a couple of weeks ago. Look, she was
drunk driving. The Aerostar back running.
She was drunk driving and sideswiped the fucking mailbox.
My next door neighbor were these 3 brothers named Jose. It was Jose, Manny, Jose, and Osolito. There was 3 brothers. They were all named Jose, and they just build cars in their backyard and shit. And we jumped the brick wall to get into some guy's garage because they had like where the car parts were to find like it was like the backlights of a Honda Civic or something.
Yeah,
we got them, and then we found there was fucking hence junkyard dogs fucking start chasing us. We had to fucking climb this thing and jump back. Just a fun thing. It was the back lights the front lights for my car. I had a Volkswagen Golf GL teal. It was the same color as this shirt because I just wanted one so bad. I wanted one so bad that I didn't care the color.
It didn't matter. Yeah,
I got hit in the front. I got hit, and this is how they fixed it. I had no money to get this car fixed, so we jumped the thing to steal the lights. We stole the lights. Then to fix the front end of the car, my friend the Manny goes, "This is how we fix it. We don't need a guy." Tied a rope to the front end of my car, to the frame, tied the other end of the rope to a tree, and then slowly reversed the car, and it straightened out the front end, right? And then we literally fixed it ourselves, put the lights in, 3 or 4 years later, similar situation. I'm like, I know how to do this. I remember so Manny did this. I tie it to the front, tie it to a tree, hit reverse.
The whole
tree comes down on my fucking car.
Oh my God.
Smashed the windshield. I told Manny, he was like, dude, you got to get a bigger tree.
Oh my God. That's insane.
Yeah, I was looking back, I was like, yeah, that was a little ass tree. So it didn't do too much damage, but it smashed the windshield.
Owen hooked it up to a rhododendron in somebody's front yard.
Yeah.
Just ripped it right.
That's too funny.
I kept the plant, though. It's actually a beautiful plant that my mom's got right now. Jesus Christ.
All right, I got two. So shout out to all the listeners. First of all, rate, review, subscribe, all that kind of business if you haven't already. We appreciate it. But people are hitting us up with a lot of fucking questions. And
Is happening live?
No. But I forgot to do they're emailing them and stuff.
Oh,
but
sorry.
No, it's fine. But
the cops listening? Wait a minute, hold on a second. I thought we three of us were just talking here. What's going on? You scumbags, you fucking betray me like this?
Any of you's wearing a wire? What's going on here? I don't know if we're gonna be able to get to all of them. Definitely not. Whatever. These are two from Drew. Have you ever hung out at a grocery store loading dock?
Grocery store loading dock. Now, people in my family did because they worked there. I didn't, but I used to hang out at the ER loading dock where the patients would come in. Because I worked in the
trying to get a couple extra pills that fell out of someone's pocket.
Looking for Percos.
Yeah.
He's got a script pad on him, huh? Doc?
Close, but no.
All right. And another one. Have you ever been in a competition to get a watermelon out of a pool? Because I for sure have. You ever done a greased watermelon? Yeah.
What?
Nothing on that?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's like
I've done a sack race like a fucking gentleman. I've done that. I'll fucking put an egg on a spoon and run back and forth or spin around a baseball bat. A greased watermelon.
This was big at swim clubs. You know, it was like on July 4th, whatever. I used to go to fucking Richboro Swim Club, and we'd fucking grease up a watermelon once a year and throw it into the deep end. And there would be like two teams, like 10 and 10 or 20 and 20. And you had to try to get the grease. It was all covered in Vaseline. You had to get it off to the other side. Real garbage shit. And then everybody would eat the watermelon after.
No.
Greasy watermelon?
Well, you don't eat the rind, you know what I mean? You just eat the red part.
You just lick it.
Slip it out everybody's hands. Oh, that is dirty. You ever play on train tracks, Greg Stone? You ever play around the train tracks?
Yeah, well, we didn't call them train tracks. In our town, it was the tracks. You go to the tracks. And on the tracks, that's where we would ride bikes because they'd have like trails and shit, and you'd have to jump over homeless pedophiles who would try to get you, because that's also, you had two types of groups hanging out at the tracks. You had kids who were trying to smoke cigarettes and homeless pedophiles who were trying to rape kids looking to smoke cigarettes. And if you found the right rock, you could find some pornography. But those were the tracks by our house.
Oh, that was the finding porno mags in the woods. Man, that was like fucking finding El Dorado. That was fucking that was every kid's dream. You pull over some piece of plywood and there was a couple of fucking cherry magazines. Like, whoa. Dude,
there was a deli by my house that I walk into the deli and you'd see like the comic books would be down here and the top shelf was the porno mags. And then above the porno mags was this giant fan, right? To like, air out the building. And I go, that fan, there's no fence, right? Like it was just, you pull it up and pull it down. So I went back in the middle of the night and we brought a little brick, like a little egg carton. What are those things called? Those egg crates?
Yeah.
Milk crate,
right?
Milk for dinner
crates. Reached our hands into the fucking milk for dinner, reached our hands into the fan and just grabbed pornos.
Wow.
And I was selling pornos in high school because we wouldn't take too many.
I mean, what the fuck? And then in college I started producing it.
They had to do that when the things had to cool down at Sears for a little while.
Yeah.
When Chris was running his mouth.
Do you remember the first one I ever stole was called Tushy Con Carn, and it advertised 1,000% anal.
Oh my, I had a lot of anal.
Oh, we had 1,000% anal in this VHS. It was a VHS tape. I remember that shit. Sorry.
That's crazy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right. Have you? I'm assuming this is a yes. Have you ever gotten cable from something known as a black box or a hot box?
Oh yeah, the black box, man. We used to get WrestleManias on the black box.
Yeah, black box was clean living in the 90s, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe my one buddy had the Spice Channel. That was huge as a kid.
Dude, I one time jerked off to the Squigglies. Remember it was Squiggly? It would get Squiggly.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
I was jerking off to the Squigglies, and then it got clear for 3 minutes, and I realized I was just watching Operation Dumbo Drop. So I was masturbating to an elephant's nose, I think, for half of it.
This guy's hung like a horse. Jesus Christ.
Dude, what was it? What was it about our hormones where just the idea of it? Like you would see those squigglies were no joke, man. But like you'd like catch like a little bit of
a boob would shake and then slow and like roll up the side of the screen. Yes.
And I tell you what, it was your fantasy of like what's going. It was. If the movie would have actually been clear, you'd be like, this whatever, not whatever, but the fantasy of it.
That's like strip clubs, though. The
fantasy. Your imagination is way more enticing than what it actually was.
My friend Emil, the kid I was talking about before, his TV for some reason was fucked up, and from Playboy would come out at 8 p.m. For some reason, he always got the first 4 minutes of Playboy because it would go from like The Box, which is like a channel called which like videos, music videos and stuff. 8 o'clock, The Box would be done, and it would switch to Playboy. But for some reason, he always got the first 4 minutes of Playboy for real. Like he got it clean. And so he would VHS tape the first 4 minutes every night. So he had this VHS tape of just the first 4 minutes of Playboy, and 90% of it was set up. You know,
They're not going to give you the goods. Yeah.
But the idea that this just was Playboy was enough for us.
Yeah, dude, that's enough for me now, dude.
That's fucking genius. What company is this guy running now? Is he a senator or Congress? That's fucking genius.
We have no idea why his TV would just give you. It was just late. It was just the first 4 minutes. The squigglies wouldn't come in for like 4 minutes or something. I don't know what that was about. It's crazy.
Kippy?
Yeah, I got one or two more here. Have you ever waited in line to shop on Black Friday?
As a retail employee, there isn't a sale you could give me that I will degrade myself to doing that.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't give a look. I get it. You want to go fucking get your sale. You know, you want to shop for your kids. I'll pay. I don't give a fuck. I'll pay the money or I won't have the fucking thing. I am not. I worked on the other end of that, and I refuse to ever do that shit.
I would pay an additional 20% to not do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. To be like, I'll pay more than full price if you just bring it to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to like going shopping on the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday, but for some reason it wasn't like that. We would just, the whole family, like the extended family, the cousins, would go to the King of Prussia Mall at 11 o'clock. We'd hit the food court. It was like a fun day. It wasn't
no way the first place the Foleys went was the fucking food court.
Yeah, a little walk and roll in us, huh? You know what I mean? If you guys ever had an Orange Julius, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Dude, where are you? My cousin's from King of Prussia. They used to do a pizza place called Spinelli's over there somewhere.
I know Spinelli's. Yeah, I don't think I've ever eaten there, but I know what you're talking about. I'm like maybe 15 minutes north of King of Prussia.
All right.
Yeah, just on the other side of Norristown, PA.
Buxton County, is that right? Is that a thing?
I live in
from Bucks County.
My family's from Bucks County.
Yeah.
Yep.
I dated a girl from Manayunk once, and she showed me brunch. I was like, all right, I like this brunch business.
Yeah, brunch. Yeah, brunch is a very Manayunk kind of thing. It's all like rich college kids. It's like where they get a job in finance and then move to Manayunk right after they graduate.
George wasn't a big brunch guy growing up. You didn't do a nice little cantaloupe with a nice frittata.
Yeah, maybe a mimosa or something.
For breakfast, we had London broil.
Salisbury steak for breakfast.
Side of macaroni.
Side of unsalted potatoes.
Oh my God! I just got one last question. You're 100% might garbage. Be the most garbage that we've had on the show, and I say that with warmth. I say that with love.
Of course.
I don't
know who else
from
we've had.
Illicit, illegal activities to shady.
I'm so proud of myself.
I think Donnelly was pretty trashy as well. But
Donnelly was pretty trashy.
Yeah, his dad was like a bodyguard or a bouncer at a McDonald's or something.
Yeah. I don't think people usually realize like the piece of shit that I think people look at me usually and they go, oh, it's just like a fun white guy from White Town, USA. It's like, I was a real people off with a very long time.
You throw people off with the comic books and the action figures and then all that kind of stuff. It really throws you off.
I'm doing that now because I couldn't do it when I was a kid. You know, I'm just getting to be the child I want because I had to be a man when I was 12. So now it's like, well, I'm going to do all the toys now.
Yeah, for sure. You can tell because Stone, you're very nice and personable, and hey, you walk in, hi to everybody. You're like very,
Great guy.
you're a great guy. You're a great guy. And I think it takes that a lot. Like you learn that from being like, oh, well, I was a piece of shit before. And I have associated with known criminals and like all this stuff. So like you live, I think, when you have a trashier upbringing, you live more of a life by the time you're 20 than a lot of people. So it's like, you realize you're like older and wiser and, you're like, I don't need to do all this. I'm just polite to everybody.
These fucking chumps. Anyway, yeah, this is so much fun. You guys are great.
My final question for you, Greg Stone, is have you or any member of your family ever owned a timeshare? Because George sounds like a timeshare guy.
So it's hard to say because we technically didn't, but we didn't have to because our neighbors did. And they had some kind of deal where it'd be like, I'll fix your car, you let us use a timeshare. And I remember going to the Poconos. It was like we literally.
Oh my God! It was in the Poconos.
Yeah, we had a timeshare in the Poconos. Which why? I mean, how shitty is that?
It was.
I never realized.
Yeah, best way to spend $35 a year.
Why would someone do that? I never said that out loud. We needed to go to this timeshare in the Poconos, and it was like a shittier house than the one we lived in, and they lived in.
Yeah.
We were going to a worse place. But yeah, that's the closest I had with a timeshare.
Oh, Greg Stone, you are absolute garbage, and I love you, buddy. Is there anything you want the gang out there to know?
Like, could I tell them about my podcast? Is that a thing?
Everything.
Of course, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, if you enjoyed me, check out my podcast, The Rad Dude Cast. And also every Friday night, I do Friday Night Greg. That's my late night show. It's live on YouTube. And you can also just watch the old ones on YouTube. Well, my name's Greg F. Stone and all that bullshit. Anyway, first of all, I don't really even care about that. You guys are wonderful human beings. Thank you so. I know I demanded to be on this, but it just looked like so much fun, and you guys are so much fun, and I missed you both. So it's
man,
nice.
thank you so much for doing it. It was fucking awesome. Thank you so much.
Kippy, what do they got to know out there?
Guys, first of all, thank you for all of the support as we've gotten this thing off the ground. I know a lot of Tuesdays are tuning in because they gave us the shout out on the pod, so we appreciate it. But please make sure you rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to pods. And if you watch pods, we're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and you comment. We mix it up in the comments, all that fun stuff. And I'm at Kevin Ryan Comedy on all social media.
Very nice. At H Foley on Ice on Twitter and Foleygrams on Instagram. Just to reiterate what Kevin said, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Love going back and forth with everybody on social media. Please continue to support the podcast. Tell a friend, spread the word. Greg Stone, the king of garbage right now, buddy. You're fucking number one, pal.
It's great.
We're gonna have to have fucking like one. I don't know who we're gonna have to have on here. We're gonna have to get R. Kelly or something like that. Buddy, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.